A falcon was flying in the air, and one day it saw Icarus flying over the ocean. So the falcon thought to itself, I wonder what that is. Let's go and see. And so the falcon went over to Icarus and started plucking out all the feathers. And Icarus said, "What are you doing? I can't fly without my feathers." And then the falcon said, "So be it." And so he kept on plucking out the feathers, and and Icarus started going towards the land where it was safe. And then his father came with another set of wings and said, "Here, Icarus, catch these wings. The falcon can't get them." And so the falcon cawed, and a swarm of other falcons came out of nowhere and said, "We don't want those wings in the air. Get them away." And so all the falcons started plucking one wing at a time from Icarus and said, "Help me!" And so Icarus landed on the beach, and then the falcon said, "Oh, he's on the land. That's outside of our jurisdiction." So Icarus just walked on the beach with his feathers, and his father flew down, and his father said, "I wonder what caused all that." And Icarus said, "I don't know. What? There's just a swarm of falcons that came out of nowhere. Falcons don't fly in packs, do they?" And his father said, "Who knows? Well, we came out of a maze with a minotaur, so anything's possible." And Icarus decided to go to the market and sell his wings to the highest bidder, and he sold them for 1,000 pesos because he was in Mexico instead of Greece. It's like, and one of the Mexicans there said, "Oh, yes, these are some fine wings. Where'd you get them?" And Icarus said, "From a labyrinth with a minotaur." And the Mexican just laughed at him and said, "Yo, that's a good story." And Icarus said, "No, I'm being serious." And so the Mexican said, "Well, I don't believe you, but these are some interesting decorations, so I'm going to hang this on my wall." And so the Mexican left, and Icarus was there without any wings and with 1,000 pesos to spend. So he went to a restaurant and got some food there. Got some burritos and tacos and some nachos and a Pepsi. And also so Icarus and his father ate at the Mexican restaurant, and Icarus's father said, "I have another set of wings for you, Icarus." And Icarus said, "Oh, good, that's great. But what about the falcons that'll take me out of the sky?" "Oh, don't worry about them. I've found some falcon repellent and sprayed it on the on the wings." And so next time, Icarus and his father took to the skies, flying over Mexico, and some of the Mexicans thought they were one of the Aztec gods flying over them, and they started shouting and chanting. It's like, and one of the Mexicans said, "What's that dark cloud over there?" And that dark cloud turned out to be a horde of pigeons. And the falcon said, "Oh, we can't get next to Icarus, so we'll just have the pigeons go after him instead." and Icarus, and the falcons talked to Icarus saying, "We have pigeons instead of falcons after you now." And so Icarus said, "Help! Help! I'm being, my feathers are being plucked. Help me!" And some of the pigeons stayed on the wings and didn't do anything, while others just sat there and kept plucking away. And so Icarus's father said, "I can't help you now. That was my last set of wings I could give you." And so Icarus had to land in the middle of the desert, where there was an Aztec temple. And so there was a ceremony going on there that nobody knew about. And Icarus stepped into the circle and said, "Hi guys, I just flew from the sky." And the Aztecs were talking to them amongst themselves and said, "We don't think you go by the Mayan calendar, so we think that this should be a surprise for us. So who are you anyway?" "It is me, Icarus. I come from Greece." And the Aztecs said, "Well, we don't have enough cooking oil, so we could use some grease." And Icarus's father said, I don't have any more wings to give you, so I'll just show them my wings and start flying around. They'll think that I'm one of the Aztec gods." And so Icarus's father started flying around the temple, and the Aztecs went, "Ooh, ah." And then some of the pigeons started flying around, and they didn't attack Icarus's father. And Icarus said, "How come they attack me and not you?" And Icarus's father said, "I don't know. It's just, I guess that's the way things are for you." And so all the pigeons landed on the Aztec temple, and some of them tried to pick up a few people and make them fly away. And so Icarus was about to talk to them, and he was also picked up by a bunch of pigeons, and they started taking him away. And they flew him all the way to this mountaintop, where there was a gigantic nest of the head falcon, and the head falcon was about the size of a small helicopter. And the head falcon said, "What are you doing in my skies, human? You don't belong there. Only the birds belong there. We tried to get rid of the airplanes and the helicopters, but to no avail. We're still working on that. But you we can deal with." And Icarus said, "How come all the pigeons are working for you? What happened to the falcons?" And he said, "Oh, the falcons are doing their own thing right now, so we just have to rely on the pigeons." And the crows, what about the crows? "Well, we don't really work with the crows. They're affiliated with other people, so we just work with pigeons." And so, and Icarus said, "Well, what about why is the head falcon? Why is the head falcon in Mexico?" He said, "It's the warmest place. It's warm year round, and it's really nice. We don't like the winter too much. It's just the way things are. Kind of like how the pigeons and the falcons go after you, but not your father. Can you tell me why that happens?" "No, that's just the way it is." And so they were going around, and Icarus was on top of the head falcon, and they were surveying the city of Mexico. Mexico City in Mexico. And the head falcon said, "I would go there to eat a Mexican dinner, but I'm a little too large to fit into one of the buildings. And the people there think I'm some sort of let me see. I have to look in the thesaurus." And he looked in the thesaurus for a while. And he said, "Anthropod, I'm an anthropod." And Icarus said, "I don't think that's the right use of the word." "Well, never mind. Let's just say that falcons are anthropods." It's like, and Icarus said, "Isn't that like an insect?" It's like, "No, it sounds more like a bug." And so the anthropod head falcon took Icarus to the outskirts of the city, and said, "This is as far as I can take you. I have to head back to my mountain now. Your father should be waiting for you at the restaurant." And he said, "Is there a souvenir I could take with me?" "Yes, take one of my feathers. It should be worth a lot. You could sell it at the auction in Mexico." I will be off now. And so he was off. And Icarus went to an auction and sold one of the head falcon's feathers for 5,000 pesos. And so Icarus and his father went to another restaurant, and they ate some more burritos, tacos, and nachos, and thought about how they could capture the head falcon. And Icarus said, "No, that wouldn't be good at all. Then all the pigeons would come after me instead, and they wouldn't do anything to you." He's like, and the father said, "Why? What kind of son has pigeons go after him?" And so they decided this time to go and walk up the mountain where there were no birds at all. And on this mountain, they saw Bigfoot. And Bigfoot was speaking in a different language, a language that only Bigfoot people could speak. And Icarus said, I don't understand what you're saying. And Icarus said, I don't think we can communicate. And the Bigfoot said, "I'm not talking to you, I am talking to the wind. Can't you see?" And Icarus said, "Oh." And so Bigfoot said, "I'm going to give you a tour of my home." And so Icarus and his father followed Bigfoot, and they went around Bigfoot's home in the woods that were surrounding the mountain. And Bigfoot said, "This is the tree I climb whenever I want to just see what's in the sky." And Icarus and his father were just nodding along and going along with him, and Bigfoot went to a small pond, well, that was right beside a river. And Bigfoot said, "This is the river where I wash myself and catch fish." And Icarus and his father said, "Is there any way we could catch fish?" And Bigfoot said, "No, you just have to use your hands. And I'll teach you if you can learn." And Icarus and his father tried to catch some fish with their hands, and they kept on finding that the fish were really, really slippery. It was kind of hard to catch any kind of fish at all, because they would run out of their hands before they could even catch them. And Bigfoot said, "Okay, I'll have to teach you this technique I do for catching fish. You have to look at the fish, you have to stare into the fish's eyes and hypnotize them." And then once the fish isn't moving anywhere, that's when you catch them. And so Bigfoot made eye contact with one of the fish, and the fish just stopped where it was because it said in its mind, "I didn't think Bigfoot exists. What's he doing here? I don't even know what to do anymore. I'm going to just stand still and freeze myself." And so the fish just completely and utterly let go of all of its motor skills and just drifted in the water. And Bigfoot caught the fish and said, "Yes, see, this is how you catch a fish." Then he threw the fish back in the water. Now I want you to catch a fish." And so Icarus and his father tried to make eye contact with the fish, but the fish kept on swimming away. And then Icarus was able to make eye contact with one of the fish, and the fish was thinking to itself, "Oh, I've seen humans before. This one's no different, but he's from Greece. But wait a second, I can't move. What's going on?" And then Icarus put his hands in the water, grabbed the fish, and said, "Yes, I've caught a fish." And his father said, well, the pigeons go after you, and the fish don't know what to do with you, so you're one interesting son I have. And Bigfoot said, yes, your catch is a success. Now throw him back in the water. And Icarus threw the fish back into the water. Then he went and saw that Bigfoot was going to go around, and he was touring his homeland in the middle of the woods. He talked about the tree some more and talked more about the river. And then Icarus said, where do you go for the outhouse? And Sasquatch said, oh, we don't have an outhouse. We just go in a cave. And we don't go in that cave only. And that cave is only meant for the, the facilities. The facilities where you can just help yourself. You know what I mean. Restrooms? Yes, restrooms, yes. It's kind of like a restroom, but it's not. So we're not going to go there because it's kind of smelly. And so Bigfoot led them up on the side of a mountain where the head falcon was again. And he said goodbye to Icarus and his father. And then Icarus and his father went up to the head falcon again. And the head falcon said, what do you want? And Icarus said, well, I've got 5,000 pesos here, and I'm willing to have a ride in the sky. And the head falcon said, I don't have anything to do with man-made things. I don't need 5,000 pesos. I couldn't even get into Mexico City because I'm so large. So, what are you going to do about that? And Icarus said, I'm not going to do anything at all. And he said, that's good. So we'll just take a bunch of pigeons and put you back in Mexico City again. And Icarus said, no, I'm going to steal one of your eggs. And the head falcon said, that's not possible because I don't have any eggs. And Icarus said, well, that kind of ruined my plan. And Icarus said, you see this ball of string? This led me out of the maze with the Minotaur. And the head falcon said, yes, that's very interesting. And so, what are you going to do with that ball of string? I'm going to make a cat's eye with it. And so, Icarus twirled the string around his fingers and made a cat's cradle out of it. And the head falcon said, yes, I guess I'm supposed to be impressed. So I'll just act like I'm impressed for a little while, then I'll just go to sleep. And when Icarus saw that the head falcon was asleep, he thought to himself, maybe I could just summon the pigeons on my own. Then I won't need wings anywhere. I could just have the power to fly around with pigeons taking me anywhere I'd like to go. And so he had the pigeons fly him to Mexico City, and then he showed the people in Mexico City the cat's cradle he could do with the ball of string that he had. And the people of Mexico City were also not impressed as well. And they thought he was a traveling performer. And so they just tossed a few pesos into one of the baskets that were right beside him. And so he ended up having 10,000 pesos after that. And let's see. Icarus and his father went to another restaurant, except this time it was a really shady restaurant. And there were all sorts of people there. And and one of them looked like a person from somewhere in the woods. And he said to him, this isn't really a shady place. It's just a really unknown place. People don't come here very often. So "What are you doing here?" said the woodsman. And Icarus, he said, "I am from Greece." And the woodsman said, "Yeah, we don't have much Greece around here." And Icarus said, "No, I mean the country Greece." And the woodsman said, "Oh, yeah, that place. I've never been there, but I hear it's really nice. Is it really nice there?" And Icarus said, "I haven't been there for a while, but I guess it is." And Icarus's father said, "Yeah, it's a really nice place. We just got caught by a minotaur, and then we got out with a ball of string." And the woodsman said, "How'd you manage that?" "I don't know, ask Icarus. I just made the wings." And Icarus started talking about how he could fly with pigeons, and the woodsman nodded in agreement as if this was the most normal thing in the world. And the woodsman said, "So, how could you teach me how to fly with the pigeons?" And Icarus said, "Well, I don't know. The head falcon granted me the ability to have the pigeons carry me anywhere I want. Maybe we could go and ask the head falcon." And the woodsman said, "I don't think that's a good idea. The people of Mexico City and the head falcon don't have a very good rapport with each other, so I think that's kind of ill-advised." And so Icarus said, "Oh, suit yourself. We're from Greece. We can do anything here, I guess." And then the woodsman said, "How do you know what we're saying at all if you're from Greece? You don't know Spanish." And then Icarus looked at his father, and then his father looked at Icarus, and then they were scratching their heads and saying, "How are we talking to these people? That's kind of odd." And the woodsman said, "It doesn't matter anyway. We're talking, so it just doesn't matter whether you're speaking Greek, Spanish, or English. Somehow we're talking." And the woodsman said, "You should talk to the bartender over there." But he's not a bartender at all. You see, he's the manager of the restaurant. So I'm mixing up places here. It doesn't matter. So go on and talk to the store manager. And so Icarus and his father talked to the store manager, and the store manager was wiping down the counter and talking to the cook at the same time and saying, "Would it be better if we changed the menu up a little bit over here?" And the cook said, "Nah, people love our food here. We have a good reputation." And said, "Oh, okay, we may as well don't fix anything that doesn't need to be fixed." And Icarus talked to the store manager, and the store manager said, "Hey, you're a visitor from Greece. We're really glad you're here. We don't get very many visitors here. We just have all the locals that come in here and eat our food and talk about a lot of things that people usually don't talk about on a daily basis, like well, that's for another day. Anyway, what would you like?" And Icarus said, "Do you have any cream cheese?" There was a silence. And the store manager said, "No, we don't have any cream cheese here. You must be talking about the French. They have cream cheese everywhere. They have cream cheese at the stores and everything. So if you want cream cheese, you'll just have to go there. Go to France." And Icarus said, "We have only 15,000 pesos on us." And the store manager said, "Oh man, well, you might be able to go to France then. Just take one of those airplanes and you'll be there." And Icarus said, "But we'd have to change our currency, wouldn't we?" And the store manager said, "Yeah, that's probably one of the details you'll have to deal with. I don't know I haven't really traveled anywhere. I've just been here in Mexico City all my life." And Icarus said, "Okay, well, what if we just go and ask Bigfoot. And the store manager said, "Oh, Bigfoot's a myth. He doesn't exist." And Icarus and their father gave glances around at the other people and said, "I'm pretty sure Bigfoot's real." And Bigfoot didn't have anything going around. And so Icarus and his father went and talked to Bigfoot about the airplane tickets that they should buy. And Bigfoot said, "Yes, I go and I travel around. I usually tell people that I'm wearing a suit and a mask, and that usually suit tells people that I'm human when I'm not. So I usually travel all around the world, and nobody knows it's me until I walk in the woods."